גם בשמחה ובצהלה A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Shabbat nikavala, shamor lizachor b'diבור echad, yishme'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, Hashem tiferet v'tehila, lecharoti likrat kala, Shabbat nikavala, lecharoti likrat kala. Shabbat nikavala, likrat Shabbat akumin elcha, makor habraka, nerosh nekerem nisura, sof ma'aseh b'mashalat tefila, lecharoti likrat kala, Shabbat nikavala, lecharoti likrat kala. Shabbat nikavala, yitoreri, diva or kumiori, uri shirtaperi, kivod Adonai alayich nigla, lecharoti likrat kala, Shabbat nikavala, lecharoti likrat kala. Shabbat nikavala, ohi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha uf'tzola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, lecharoti likrat kala. Shabbat nikavala, lecharoti likrat kala. Shabbat nikavala.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know I go to my brother and I said, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. And oh, there's been times that I thought I wouldn't last for long. Now I know that I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
Shugarash, take 3.
I think I was fast anyway.
Maybe a little.
Tov, Tov, Tov lehodot, Tov lehodot ladonai. Tov, Tov, Tov lehodot, Tov lehodot ladonai. Uzamer lishimcha elyon, lishimcha elyon. Uzamer, Uzamer lishimcha elyon. Tov, Tov, Tov lehodot, Tov lehodot ladonai. Tov, Tov, Tov lehodot, Tov lehodot ladonai. Lehagid baboker chastecha ve'umanatcha balelot, balelot. Tov, Tov, Tov lehodot, Tov lehodot ladonai. Tov, Tov, Tov lehodot, Tov lehodot ladonai. Uzamer lishimcha elyon, lishimcha elyon. Uzamer, Uzamer lishimcha elyon. Tov, Tov, Tov lehodot, Tov lehodot ladonai. Tov, Tov, Tov lehodot, Tov lehodot ladonai. Shiru song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
So, welcome to Congregation Micah. My name is Philip Rice. A lot of you know that. They call me Rabbi Flip. I think I know a lot of you. It's always hard to tell with the masks. That's Miss Lisa Silver. She's our cantorial soloist and our musical director. And that over there is John Mock. He accompanies us this evening. And last week, Jewish people all over the world started reading the Torah, the Bible, from the very beginning, where it says, Bereshit bara Elohim, that in the beginning God created et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz, the heavens and the earth. The text tells us, ha'aretz, the earth was tovu vavohu, it was null and void, it was chaotic. V'ruach Elohim merachepet al pnei hamayim, but the Spirit of God passed over the waters. Vayomer Adonai yehi or, and God said, let there be light. And you better believe there was light. This is the eternal mission of the Jewish people. It's why it said at the very beginning, to bring order to the chaos, to bring light to the darkness. And there is no faith-led coalition, at least in this city, that does this better than Nashville Organized for Action and Hope, what we call Noah. It is not an accident that we read Parashat Noah this week, right after the beginning of the story. Noah here in Nashville is a multiracial and interdenominational composition of congregations, faith-led organizations that work to give voice to traditionally marginalized people. Noah engages ordinary folks like us in the political and economic decisions that affect the city and the communities in which we live. And it acts really as one of the unifying voices in our city for faith and for justice. And it causes us to act on those values in the public arena. And so we welcome this evening Reverend Thompson to tell us more, as well as many of our active members in the Noah organization, in a little while, about how Noah brings order to the chaos of our city, shining light on issues like affordable housing and criminal justice and economic equity and education, all values that we find in our Jewish tradition, and also values captured by a certain young man who sits in the front row of our sanctuary this evening, Mr. Xander Kravitz, who tomorrow will become a bar mitzvah. I almost want to clap already, do you? Okay, don't have to. So right now, we're going to ask Xander and his father, Steve, and his mother, Samantha Saturn, and his sister, Natalie, and anyone else who wants to come up here and bring more light into our community as we begin our evening as God began at the very beginning by bringing light into our sanctuary. We're on page 2, if you have a book. You guys are going to go over there? Are you going to read? I invite you to read with me. As these candles, Shabbat candles, give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light. So may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, creator of the universe, creator of the universe. By your commandments we are sanctified as we kindle the lights of Shabbat. Amen.
You should maybe join us in the morning. We're going to hear a little bit from Xander in just a little while. Right now, I'm going to say Shalom Aleichem. You say Alechem Shalom. Ready? Shalom Aleichem.
Alechem shalom.
Oh, that was very good. Yes, may peace be upon you all. We actually sing these words, and we do it to welcome the Sabbath angels. Try and keep up with us.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Boachem Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyonim, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyonim, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Alechem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyonim, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyonim, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Alechem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyonim, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyonim, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Alechem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi
Yikra Viet Kadash Me Rabba.
Amen.
Ve'alma Devara Hirote. Ve'om Lich Mahute. V'chayachom V'yov Mechon. V'chaye Dachol Bet Yisrael.
Bagala uvisman kariv beimaru. Amen. Shemei Rabba Mavorach La'olam Ol Almei Almaya Yitbarach.
Yitbarach Viet Kadash. Shabbat. Wait. Yitbarach Viet Hadar Viet
V'yitale v'yitalav Shemei Dekudusha B'rihu Le'elam Mikol Birchata B'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Damiran Belma V'yimeru.
Amen.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated.
Parashat Noah, the story of a flood. There's a lot of flood stories, and they're not all ancient Near Eastern stories. The story I like to tell most actually happens when Noah kicked the doors open of the ark after the flood and saw the world completely devastated, as we've seen our city before. You see, he looked out and he cried out to God. He said, God, in 6 days you made heaven and earth. And it was a garden. It was a garden of Eden. There were plants. There were animals. There were humans. Now you have uprooted everything that you have planted. You've destroyed everything you've created. Why did you not show compassion on your creatures? And God said, Oy vey. It was the first oy vey in history, we think. God said, now, after the destruction, you come to me and ask for compassion? How different Abraham will act. He will pray and bargain with me on behalf of the people of Sodom and Gomorrah. Moses will offer his life on behalf of the people. But when I told you you would destroy the world, you thought only of yourself, your own family. You see, the Jewish mission of bringing light doesn't mean just to the Jewish people. Like the organization Noah, it means bringing it to everybody. And that, by the way, when the waters are calm or if they're rough, is what reminds us that we are, in fact, united. It is what we call the watchword of our faith from the book of Deuteronomy. The idea we are all connected, we are all one. And we sing those words now.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
So the verses continue in the book of Deuteronomy, and they teach us about love. And so Xander here is going to lead us in chanting those words from the Torah. We join him.
V'ahavta
Et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadivarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech u'shachbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam lot al yadecha v'hayu letotefot bein einecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
You guys want to hear another story? Sure. Good, because you're gonna. So I found this cool footage. Did anyone watch this footage? Of rough seas, the eye of a hurricane. You know, there's a lot of rough water tales that the Jewish people tell. One of the ones I love the best is when we got to the shores of the sea reeds and we saw the water looked like this. Factions broke out in the Jewish people. We started to fight. Surprise, surprise. It was like a board meeting. There was not unity on what to do. One of the factions panicked. They panicked. They said, let's just give up. Let's go back. Let's just go back to Egypt. And another group said, go back and be slaves? I can't do that. They said, let's just hurl ourselves into the sea. It's like they wanted to commit suicide and give up. There was another group who said, hey, let's stand up for let's fight them. Let's fight them. But the group we think was from the tribe of Micah said, wait a second. What if we just start singing? Maybe they'll harmonize and sing with us. So we believe that the sea split because when it came down to it, it was the song that united us, the words from the Bible, Mi Chamocha. Please sing them with us.
Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi chamocha nedar b'korash nora tehilot Osefele Malchutecha ra'u v'necham Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקעם לפני משה. זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נטל בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, עושה פלא.
Xander, when's your actual birthday? August 2nd. Is that a COVID thing? Yeah. Well, we're pretty close to it. So you're 13 already? We're going to celebrate it right now. Woo. Okay. I know that there are people here that are celebrating Simchas, and we like to share our joys. So if you're here celebrating an anniversary or a birthday or one of those things, we're going to ask you to please come up here. I know Ron and Faith are. Who else? Someone else. Come on. David and Arlene are coming. You guys have to come. Just come. Xander, that's you too. On the pulpit so everybody can see you. Be TV stars. You can look that way. No, go ahead. At the camera. Come in front of the table up front so everyone can see you. Come on, Saturn Kravitz family, in front of the table. Where are you hiding, Xander? You're going to throw off the whole meter of the service if you don't. Okay. Bunch in like you're a community. Anniversaries, birthdays, correct?
Rachel.
Okay. What do we got?
Birthday.
Birthday. Okay, hold on. I know arms get tired, but we're going to make a little flip. Ready? So grab two ends. You got to grab in, get in. I found this great quote. Are you ready for this? It's from the Talmud, Babylonian Talmud, Sota 17a. Here's what it reads. I know your arms are going to get tired. I'll go quick. If the couple is worthy, the divine presence abides with them. And so we invite the divine presence right now under this canopy at the end, really, of our Sukkot holiday, which is just passed. That's when you got married, right, Sukkot? So I found this special blessing. It says, "Oh God, eternal source of blessing, we turn to you in gratitude for the strength and the devotion that have preserved and sustained these couples and these people. We ask that as you look back upon the years of your lives, since you first pledged yourself to each other, since you were first born, that you continue to experience all the joys, all the mingled occasions of victory and defeat, all the fulfillments, and all the disappointments, knowing that while there may be dark storms, there will also be joyous times. And in these joys and trials alike, you have each other and you have us, this community. So we ask God that you sustain all of these people and that you guide them in the years to come and that you bless them with health and contentment in this, their circle of community and family, with loved ones far and near, and everybody says, Amen. Okay, I know you're tired, so you can take this down, but you can't leave yet. Because we like to keep you up here a little longer and offer you a prayer of protection, which is what's going to happen now.
Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomrenu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. guard us from all harmful things. Oh Adonai, keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake in morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
Now we clap for him, I think. Okay, good job. Thank you very much. Okay. I think you should stay a little. Okay, we're going to rise for our central prayer tefillah. We're on page 46 in the book, or we invite you to follow along on the screens.
Adonai tzifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'Nehem, L'Ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Ata gibor leolam Adonai, Mechayei hakol ata rav lehoshia, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofech holim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, Michamocha baal givurot, Umido melach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman ata lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, V'kudoshim b'chol yom yalalucha salah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
We take now a little bit of silence, and when you're done, you may be seated.
acceptable to you. Be acceptable to you. God, my rock and my redeemer. God, my rock and redeemer.
It's always here at the end of our tefillah, our central prayer, that we hope God is especially attentive, and so we turn our hearts and thoughts and prayers and songs to the people who need Him the most, the people who don't have that sense of shalom, that sense of wholeness and peace. Our community continues to mention the names Steve Geringer, Paul Richter, Crystal Miller, Charlie Baugh, Dick Eskin, Steve Gould, B.B. Weinstein, Alex Morgan, Bill Drungowski, Edria Ragusin, Janice Grossman, Jill Gutnick, Florence Wittenstein-Saperstein, Mike Harris, Alan Mandel, the Kopelman family. If there's names I've neglected to mention or just people you would like to say aloud. We think of all people who are sick, and we invite you to sing with us.
So this is what's known as a call and response. So I don't have Rabbi Lori here to respond, so that's going to be your job. So when we get to the Dear God of Our Ancestors part, then I'll sing a line and you'll answer me.
Elna Refanala, Refanala Nu. Elna Refanala, Refanala Nu. Dear God of our ancestors, help us renew our faith. Grant us a perfect healing. Bring peace to all our days. Elna Refanala, Refanala Nu. Elna Refanala, Refanala Nu. Restore our strength of body. Help clarify our minds. Refresh our tired spirits. Rejuvenate our life. Elna Refanala, Refanala Nu. Elna Refanala, Refanala Nu. Thank you for all these blessings throughout our days and nights. We celebrate the journey, this precious gift of life. Elna Refanala, Refanala Nu. Elna Refanala, Refanala Nu. Elna Refanala, Refanala Nu. Elna Refanala, Refanala Nu.
Is that Mike Hodge out there? You just got married and you didn't come do the blessing thing with us? It's okay. I don't mean to put you on the spot. It's fine. I would have got you under there. Mazel tov, we say congratulations to you too. Mike is one of the first people who exposed me to Noah. He came in my office and he said, you got to do this. And all these years later, finally, we have some motivated people. If you were involved in our Noah team at Micah, will you stand up just for a minute? Come on, stand up for it. Give them a round of applause. These are the people that help represent us, and they can answer questions. So get a good look at them. Okay. Yeah, like in the mask, you can. One of those individuals who really takes a leadership position, who has done all sorts of things, including leading our book club at times and teaching in our religious school and just being an all-around go-to person in our community, is Mr. Ron Hetty. And I'm going to invite him up here to introduce our speaker this evening.
Shabbat Shalom. And thank you, Rabbi, for making room for the other Noah in this evening's service. First, let me say that I'm proud to be one of Micah's representatives to this organization, which includes over 60 faith-based and community-based member organizations. If you did not meet them before services began, you can recognize Noah representatives from our own and other congregations by the buttons they're wearing. Sometimes it's a sticker. And please take a little time to talk with them after the service. I want to welcome them and other colleagues who have joined us virtually and thank them all for being with us tonight. But now I have the pleasure of welcoming to the Bema the president of Noah, Reverend Edward Thompson. In his sermon last week about the book of Genesis, Rabbi Flip reminded us that God is free, and by making us in his image, gave us freedom too. Then he asked, will we use our freedom to respect order or misuse it to create chaos? Will we honor or dishonor the image of God that lives in the human heart and mind? Reverend Thompson has shown that he honors the image of God by the way he has lived his life. In his 8 years in the presidency of Noah, and his many years in the AME pulpits, and in his personal life outside these responsible positions, he's continually lived his dedication and commitment to respecting and seeking order, particularly in the realm of social justice. He has responded, as Rabbi phrased it last week, to the revolutionary idea that your voice matters. Reverend Thompson has certainly used his voice, but for him, that has meant more than offering vocal and financial support for good causes. He has led and continues to lead others to join him, striving to live up to a higher vision of what we are called to be and to restoring order from the chaos created by those who have misused the freedom God allowed them. In all the different parts of his life, he is a walking and talking model of our own commitment to Tikkun Olam. Reverend Thompson knows full well that it is not our obligation to complete the work, but in all his decisions and actions, he shows us what it means to honor the obligation of taking up and engaging in the work of repairing the world. Because, as Rabbi again reminded us last week, God cares about justice, compassion, faithfulness, loving kindness, the dignity of the individual, and the sanctity of life. So does this man. And it's my honor to introduce to you a man who each day shows us what it means to act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. Reverend Thompson.
I want to take this opportunity to first thank you for the invitation to come once again to be with you. And I want to also personally thank the work of the members in Micah who are doing a great job with Noah. And you are a living testimony of what Ron just quoted from Micah to the prophet's teaching on justice. And I do highly commend you. You have some dedicated justice workers in Noah. And you have really helped us to be a prominent and a productive justice organization in Nashville. And I know Micah has at least 41 members who have been active with Noah in some capacity. It might be you have come to some of our public meetings, you have participated in public actions, and you have been to several of our press conferences, even with your donations, and you have worked with various of our 4 task forces that Rabbi mentioned, that we are very active in those, and several committees. And I want to give a special shout out to some of the committee chairs of Congregation Michael, or Ron. And Ron, I would have just said Ron, but I met another Ron here tonight, Ron Gabbard. But Ron Hetty is one of our co-chairs of our coordinating campaign committee, and he's doing a great job along with Regina. And also Arlene Tuckman, who our past co-chair of our Integrated Voters Engagement Committee. And also Dave. Where's Dave? Dave Zelenska. Okay, Dave. He's also extremely active with our Education Task Force. He is the co-chair of our Education State Funding Committee. And he also helped with the other affiliates of Gamaliel Foundation to a few months ago, well, about a couple months ago, our Day of Power and Prayer statewide with Michael of Memphis and Caleb of Chattanooga. And I see Arby there, who's very active with our with the Criminal Justice Task Force and also with our Affordable Housing Task Force. And again, I saw Diane, I guess most of you know as a D. Where is she? She has worked with our Affordable Housing Task Force, and also Kenny and Betty Liscombe, who worked also with our Affordable Housing Task Force. And this shows how you are active for justice. And I want to thank Rabbi for, again, letting you work with Noah, again, with his encouragement. And I've always told people in my tradition, you know, when the pastor pushes something, more than likely it will get done. If the pastor doesn't push it, it won't get done. But I want to thank you, Rabbi, for encouraging your members to be a part of this. As it was stated earlier that we have 60-plus organizations, and we always like to say our congregations are part of the family of Abraham, Jews, Christians, Muslims, and Unitarians. And we also have several unions that work with us. And along with, we see some of the union people here tonight. And also we have other nonprofit community organizations. And at the present time, we do have 4 major task forces. We have affordable housing, criminal justice, economic equity and jobs, and education. And all of our issues are focused around these 4 task forces. But we also work heavily in integrated voters engagement, because that's also very important. And the organization voted on these 4 task forces, and that's why we focus on those particular issues. And we do know there are other issues, major, pressing issues, and we can't just do everything. But of our 60-plus organizations, NOAA will also work with those organizations. It might not be our key issues, but we go and help other congregations with unions and with community, nonprofit organizations. We work with them, even though it's not our major issue. But that's very important because it's so much work to be done on behalf of justice. And we also have joined several coalitions across the state to bring about justice, not just in our local Nashville community, but also on the state level. And that's the reason why we now have 2 other organizations, affiliates of Gamaliel Foundation. And we know or help to form those other organizations. And one thing we're doing now, we are trying to work and establish other justice groups across Tennessee. We have these 95 counties. It's a lot of work to be done. But again, we can't grow weary or tired doing the work of justice. And people often ask me why I work with Noah. And my simple answer is, I believe in justice. One of my favorite scriptures comes from Proverbs. King Lemuel, inspired by his wise mother, wrote, "Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Ensure justice for those being crushed. Yes, speak up for the poor and helpless, and see that they get justice." And really, this is Noah's purpose. And I've always have spoke up for the underdog. Even before I was a teenager, I often participated in demonstrations in Memphis, Tennessee. I was the first one, a group of us from my North Memphis area. We tried to integrate the YMCA, especially in the summertime at the swimming pool. And then going to college, the same thing. I worked in Alabama in demonstrations, and then in Memphis. But again, it's just a love for justice. And because you had people in your life that encouraged you to work for justice. And yes, Lord, this is our purpose, to speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. And one of the things that we do, not only do we speak up, but we try to train and equip others to speak for themselves. But in the meantime, you have to speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. And we do advocate for those who can't advocate for themselves. And what we need right now, and again, I thank Michael, we need more voices, more eyes, more hands, more feet, more brains to do the work of justice. We need active workers in the field of justice. And on this coming Sunday, on the 17th, we will have our annual public meeting. And our theme is thriving, not just surviving, in Nashville. When you think about it, there are some in Nashville who are just getting by. There are others who are barely getting by. And unfortunately, there are others who aren't getting by at all. And we have to speak for those and stand up for those who are barely surviving. Yes, voices, eyes, hands, and feet, and brains can bring about a change. And there's still room for justice workers. And we can't underestimate the work of justice workers. And one thing about Noah, we have had some significant wins in these 8 years. But we started about 2.5 years before we formally became an organization. And we have had some major wins, whether with respect to the body and dash cameras. It was Noah's initiative to do this. We also had the mental health diversion from jail. Again, it was Noah. At the time, it was our criminal justice task force. It was part of that group. And some of the Michael members helped to bring this about. We also had that no suspension policy for elementary schools with respect to, so that we can prevent that school to prison pipeline. I saw, coming in tonight, I saw a nice hashtag, schools not prison, on somebody's car. Whose car was it, if you have that on you? All right, okay. They are very active. Congratulations there. And again, and that brought to me to see how passionate people can be about justice issues. And it's so many ways, but unfortunately, many other things. When we think about the bonds fund, just thinking about working for that, If Noah didn't exist, we probably wouldn't have that. But we have won some victories, like local hire. But unfortunately, it was preempted. We also won with inclusionary zoning. Again, it got preempted. So that's one reason why we are trying to get a network across Tennessee so that we can't be preempted when it comes to working for justice for those who are in need. And that's extremely important. I could go down the list, but there's so many victories and so many things that we have done to make Nashville a better city. But the more workers for justice, we can get more done. And that's very important. And one thing I truly believe, and I like the fact that you are talking about Noah. I truly believe in the biblical Noah right now. Not just Noah, Nashville Organized for Action, but the biblical Noah. And I truly believe in the covenant that God made with Noah, where he commits, this is God committing to maintain that inherent relationship between the Creator and his creation. And where God once again reaffirms his image and likeness in all of humanity. And this is because one of the reasons it shows the character of God. And one of the key characters of God is justice. Throughout the Bible, he says that he is a God of justice. And because God is a God of justice, he demands justice for all. Not only did Noah also make a promise of what he would do again to repopulate the earth, to take care of God's creation, but also not just the creation, but also take care of humanity. And justice is so important that we stand and take a stand and be a voice for justice. You know, it takes power to bring about change. And the Almighty God shares his power with us. Now, I must say from my faith community, we believe power is not ours. God has only loaned us his portion of his power. We are stewards or managers of his power. But unfortunately, there are those who abuse and misuse what God has given him the authority and power to do. But what can we do? We have to stand up, and anytime we see abuse or misuse of God's given power, we must take a stand against it. Because it's a sin against God to abuse his power. So because of who God has called us to be, we must become God's voice, become his eyes, become his hands, become his feet, and do the work for justice. Again, Michael, you have members who exercise their beliefs for justice and fairness. And they believe that using the unity of power can bring about change. But I do want to say, Michael, there still is room. There's room for more workers in the vineyard of justice. So if you are an active member, become a part of one of those task forces. We have those 4 task forces, or even the Integrated Voters Engagement Committee. You can become a part of that because one extra person can make a big difference. Again, I just want to thank you for the invitation. I thank you for your success and your continued work for justice. And again, I say, don't grow tired and don't go weary in doing the work of justice. Again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to, again, come to this fine congregation. Thank you, Rabbi.
Absolutely. Thank you. I think it is fair to say that by a lot of metrics, amazing things are happening in our city. And yet, one of the things I really appreciate about Noah, and I think we would say this about Micah as a member of Noah, is that that's not true by all metrics. And one of the metrics we care about as a Jewish community is how are we treating the most vulnerable in our community? And so I have this like picture in my head of what it must have been like if any of the prophets met each other, right? What that was like, because they got some personalities. I mean, there's this one comic I like, and there's this like cocktail party and everyone's being all fancy, and then there's one guy in the corner like this, and they're like, who invited Jeremiah? So I say that because the Micahs and the Noahs and the different congregations all coming together and expressing their voices. We do need more voices, and we need more Micah voices. We have the power to harness from God, and I hope we do. So all of you watching there at home, remember that we need your activity. This is the 1 second I want to take. Brandy, come on out of the darkness. So everyone can turn around for a second. Yeah, maybe come up here so they don't have to turn around. Brandy, Emira's here, is a member of our staff, and for a while here she has been in charge of our social action. She's been driving it, and so I want everyone, go ahead and take the mask for 1 second down so they can see your face. And give a round of applause for Brandy, too. She helped create this evening and has helped create a lot of different programs and other evenings that will be experienced to learn about how to be compassionate to our city. So thank you, Brandy. We appreciate that. We are going to begin our concluding prayers with the words of Aleinu. We always want anyone who wants to come close to Torah to come close to Torah. The Averys love to do it. They do not have to be the only ones. We're going to rise together, and anyone who wants to come close to the Torah can come up. Come on, somebody come. Somebody come. Xander, back me up. Averys are coming. Come, Averys. Come. Open those doors dramatically. All right.
Aleinu l'shabech l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoyei haratzon, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
It is here at the end of our service that we think about those people who still touch us through their spirits. I want to mention that this afternoon Elaine Parker passed away. We don't say Kaddish for someone until they're buried, and it's decided that her funeral will be on Tuesday, but I do mention that we are with her family, with her husband Frank. And we also continue to mourn and express our condolences to the Kopelman family after Jerry passed away. And we think of Bruce Goldstein, Lois Hershkowitz. We could mourn also on the anniversaries for Hannah Tarr, Diane Greenberg, Bernard Kaufman, Ava Strauss-Fogel, Mr. Philip Roseman, Rebecca Belzer, Dorothy Lee Oker, Morris Bookstein, Dorothy Newman, Abe Sack, Cecile Elmo Meredith, Minda Sue Lazarov, Jerome Kimball, Miriam Claire Silver, Arthur Robbins, Alan G. Lasky, Mary Shapiro, Dr. Lawrence Solomon, Pearl Kahn, Jacob Weisbarth, Dr. Philip I. Leviton, Isabel Schulemson, if there's other names I neglected to mention. We join together, page 294, are on the screens behind me. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabba, be'alma divra chirute v'yamlik malkute, b'chayachon uv'yomachon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach la'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarak v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudisha brichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nekamata, Damiran Biama Bimru. Amen. Yehi Shlom Rabba Min Shemaya V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Oseh Shalom Ben Ramav. Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. We say, as always, Zikranam Levracha, that their memory should live on as a blessing. All right, we invite you to sit just briefly. We bet you're getting hungry for Shabbos dinner, so we're going to do these announcements in flip speed. Okay, Torah study on Zoom with me tomorrow, 9 a.m. Those watching, just be a little patient with me because I'm coming and I should be there if it's 9:01. I'm sorry, but afterwards, we are ready to celebrate Mr. Xander Kravitz as he becomes bar mitzvah, 10:30 in the sanctuary, or you can watch on our live stream. Mahjong Tuesdays here in the social hall. We also talk politics with Shmooze and Views on Thursdays in the library. Everybody give it up because Carrie's coming. She will be our new executive director. Baruch Hashem, thank God she's going to be here on Monday. Micah Minis is taking place Saturday, October 16th at 9:30 a.m. On October 18th, I believe, there is a book drive that is beginning. You can get more of this information on our website. On the 22nd of October, we are going to, another social action sort of sponsored event, have a Welcome the Stranger Shabbat. We will sort of officially install Carrie as our executive director. We have a program we're working on to help welcome refugees that we will be invited to be a part of and hear about. Along those lines, the social action is also asking for socks for Socktober. Not your used socks, new socks for people, because we don't think anyone should have cold feet. October 24th, if you don't give us your socks, we'll take your blood. There's a blood drive happening in our social hall. Finally, as always, we invite you to please like us on our socials so you can keep up with everything that's going on. We're going to rise one final time and make a kiddush. I'm going to make Xander at least come back one more time, if you will.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'hava uvratzon hinkilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי באנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
L'chaim, we want to thank Reverend Thompson so much and all of our NOAA guests for coming and our NOAA representatives. We want to say Shabbat Shalom. Let's sing them out with a peace song.
Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav. Yaseh shalom. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav. Yaseh shalom. Oh, say shalom bimromav. Shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'emaru amen. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav. Yaseh shalom. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav. Yaseh shalom. A 1, 2, 3, 4. I